Where are you filming?
What's that?
Where are you filming? Backstage at the theatre.
Oh, this is my office, man, and I just picked up these blackout curtains a while ago. Otherwise, that's the rest of the office. Got dog in the background. I don't know if you can see it. Hey, miss. This motherfucker right here just cost me $1,800 for one night stay at the fucking vet, bro. One fucking night. Oh, let's eat everything Dad leaves on the fucking table, including fucking sultanas, which cause fucking liver failure.
I read that text. I read that message. It auto-corrected to living failure, which I thought was a nice death.
I have living to it. Oh man. So had to fucking take her in and get her looked after, and man, what a shit fight. What an absolute shit fight. And then
dogs, they're expensive,
mate, so fucking expensive. I picked her up too, and she was boiling. Like, I'm talking like just black heat, like radiating off her. I'm like, fuck. They were obviously either keeping her outside or just keeping her in like the shittest fucking conditions, because she was man. I could feel my hand heating up as I touched her.
Will they pump the stomach of the dog?
No, so because it's liver, they give them like charcoal tablets. And so the charcoal, as soon as it gets in there, it like absorbs. Well, it's meant to. It's meant to absorb all the toxins or whatever it is. And and then
is that what they do when people? How do they work when people overdose on drugs, particularly pills?
Well, it'd be in your stomach. I guess they would have to do a very similar thing as soon as it enters the bloodstream, because the issue is, at least with her, is once it got in the bloodstream, that's when the fucking issues start. But for humans. I guess the pills, well, eckies and stuff. It depends how far into the trip they are. Because if they've taken the trip, 20 minutes ago, then it's pretty much fucking entering the system at that point. But they'd probably induce vomiting still, because they'd want to do that. I know alcohol. They fuck you up, man. They fucking pump your stomach, bro. They pump that shit. I've had a couple of friends when I was like 18. They had to do it.
Yeah. I've had a few friends who have had that. I'll never forget when I used to go to festivals and I used to take drugs.
What do you mean used to? You said that you just did that last weekend.
No, I've had to go off them. I don't have the head for it, mate. Like I did it when I was younger, but just that many bloody panic attacks and just horrible experiences has led me to to keep it clean, because I think I don't know. I'm one of these people who kind of I get really excited, and then I'll do something, like I'll drink too much, or I'll take too much in one hit.
Yeah.
And then 20 minutes later, I'll be sitting there in the corner, with my eyeballs in my pocket, ready to fall in half, and sort of looking at me going, "You all right, dude?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm fine. I'll probably just call myself an ambulance in the next 10 or so. I'll probably see you guys next week, I guess." Which is actually funny. I have. My friends all joke. I've called an ambulance on myself 3 times.
Fuck.
Twice where they took me to the emergency, and once where they basically talked me down and just said, "Look, mate, I think you're going to be okay." Hypochondriasis is a serious condition, and it's rife in the Harvey family, unfortunately.
Oh fuck.
But no, I'll never forget. I went to a music festival with a bunch of my mates, and we'd basically been taking some drugs, and I had a bit of speed, and not realizing that it was speed, and
I've been there.
We've all been there.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, someone scraping off the ceiling with a spatula, and I ended up back at. back at the apartment, and the idea was, we'd all bought enough drugs to sort of sort us out for, at least the day, home from the festival and then out to the club. And I remember getting back after I was just absolutely flying, and my chest was beating, my heart was beating through my chest, and I was just, I didn't know which way it was up. And then all the boys were kind of like, right, should we do should we do a bit of cocaine now? And I was like,
time for it.
I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for that, guys. I don't think that's a good idea. And they're like, come on, Harvey, like, don't be a pussy. And I was like,
good point.
I'm not a pussy. Yeah. Oh, you convinced me.
Solid argument.
You
must be a politician,
you make a very good point. Yeah, and I said, all right, do me up a small one, and of course, my friends, being the very supportive, understanding friends that they are, lined me up the Bruce Highway, and then one thing led to another, and I basically just said, right, that's it. I'm taking myself home, guys. I'm just going to stop by the hospital. And they said, what? Anyway, I ended up for 3 days and taking myself to the emergency. I drove myself to the emergency room.
Oh, fuck, man.
where they basically sat me down and said, what have you done? And I said, I've been up since... Yeah, I said, I've been up since Friday. It's now Monday evening.
3-day benders, mate. They're the best.
Yeah, and I said, what more do you need to know? And they said, well, there's a good chance that you're probably going to need a heart transplant, and because you've told us that you're a recreational drug user, you're going to be way down the list of heart transplant recipients.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, wait, what? And of course, being 19 years old, and a panicker at the best of times, I went into absolute meltdown mode, and I was like, what do you mean? And you're a fucking idiot. I think she just saw some kid. I think she'd seen a lot of people come from this particular music festival, and I think she was just well and truly sick of it. I mean, it was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and she's just gone, just another one of these dickheads. So that was the start of me going, maybe I shouldn't do drugs.
Yeah,
I don't think I've got the head for it.
I don't think all drugs are for all people. Hey, there's definitely some drugs that other people more than others.
Couldn't agree more. And now, I mean, it's been like what 3-4 years since I've done anything, and I was never big into it. It was all just sort of dabbling. But I suppose as often seems to be the case with me, I find myself in very interesting and bizarre scenarios. I just seem to attract that kind of. I suppose it's what you're looking for. I like a good story, and I like a good experience, and I always sort of end up finding myself in these peculiar scenarios where I go, how the fuck did I get here? And being the panicker that I am, a lot of my drug stories, I'll never forget when I was really out of it, and I'd only just started going out in the valley, so I didn't know how anything worked, and I was actually genuinely walking around looking for an ambulance rank. I thought they were things. I thought that like a cab rank, you could go and sort of pop yourself into an ambulance rank, because why not? There should be an ambulance rank.
Is that like a thing they got in London, is it? Oh, fuck. That's hilarious, man. Yeah, my first time in cocaine was definitely in Sydney. Yeah. And holy fuck, man. First of all, what a fucking overrated drug, just to fucking start off with. How the fuck is something... Oh, mate, for the price you pay for it, yes. If it was, let's say, 80% cheaper, and it lasted, I don't know, 3 times the fucking length of time, yeah, it'd be a fucking dope drugs. But
okay, yeah. The thing is, though, I mean, and I can't talk here because I've never done drugs overseas, but I think
neither, by the way.
The Australian, from what I understand from everyone I've spoken to, the quality of Australian cocaine is piss poor.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I also think that if you're comparing it to other drugs, it's different. You know what I mean? I mean it's not going to be a drug where you're sitting in the corner in your own head.
That's what weed's for, mate.
Yeah. Well, for some, at least some of the drugs will sort of put you there. But I find it to be, or I found it to be quite a subtle drug, and similar to that which I found. Marijuana, and I'm certainly not downplaying what cocaine does, and it being a heavy drug, but I look at the effects that it has on I don't know, would you say your cognitive ability in comparison to the likes of alcohol? And
Oh yeah.
I tell you what, mate, like alcohol can do some fucking damage. I mean, some of the stupidest and scariest shit I've seen people do is definitely on alcohol over, any of the drugs, really. I mean, ketamine's pretty funny to observe.
You ever done Kate?
No. I do have a funny story, actually. I had a mate, basically, and he came home, and they were all doing it, and I was actually in the room with my girlfriend at the time, and I was just overhearing everything from the outside, and then hearing secondhand stories from the morning. But basically, he'd gone in, and he'd come in late, and everyone had sort of lined up the ket, and he didn't realise, and he thought it was Coke, and so.
Oh, that's gonna be a shock. That's gonna be a shock.
And this is for you. So, actually, oh fuck! We're gonna have to cut that. I can't say his name.
Oh yeah, I bet that out.
so we'll go back. So basically, he comes in late, and basically he thinks it's a line of cocaine, and they say that's yours. So he then digs in, and all of a sudden they said, "Well, what did you just do the whole thing?" And he goes, "Yeah, why?" So that wasn't all for you. Like that's cat. And he's like, "Oh fuck." What's really funny is that he's then stood there in the middle of the room, right? And time's passing by, but he stood there, right, like this.
Yeah.
So everyone else is on the couch. He sort of stood up, sort of telling a story. Can't really relax. He's a bit of an intense guy.
Yeah.
And then, very slowly, over the course of about 20 minutes.
Oh fuck, man!
Standing like that. And then after about 20 minutes, he goes, "I don't know what you guys are on about. I can't feel anything." And everyone literally just hit the deck, and they said, "Mate, have a look at how you're standing right now." And he's like, "Oh, yeah."
Oh fuck, that's hilarious. Yeah, when you're completely unaware of it, eh? I remember the first time I tried it, I was at a house party, and one of my mates brought it out, and I'm like, I've heard like stories of it, but I've never really it had never really been the drug I'd paid attention to. Like cocaine, I've heard the stories way more weird.
It's not that big here, is it? It's very big in the UK, but it's not very big here.
I mean, in Sydney, it was quite a lot. After that experience, I saw it a lot. But so I did some. We were doing it.
Sydney's very English, isn't it?
We were doing the most fancy fucking way of doing it, eh? It was like in this little jar that old mate was carrying around his fucking neck, and he got a little spoon and doing the little snort. I was like, oh, fucking, this is a posh drug, is it? And then I was drinking beer. Now beer fucks me up, man. It made me so tired, like so tired. So I'm just gonna have a sit down on the couch, and I'm sitting there. As I fucking hit the couch, everyone is still moving around and shit, and there's still people on the couch I'm chatting to and stuff. But as I sit down on the couch, as I'm like mid-conversation, I can just feel it. I'm like, oh, fuck, what have I done? And then it felt like the couch was just coming and just like hugging me. And I was just getting hugged by this couch. I was like, holy fuck, man, I feel good. And then I got old mate who gave it to me walking past. He's like, he looks down, he's like, you all right? I'm like, yeah.
Never better.
Yeah, man. And he's like, all right, good on ya. And then walked off. Not fazed by it at all because his fucking tolerance is through the roof. Meanwhile, I'm just like spacing the fuck out.
Because that's the thing. Like it's meant to be. Don't they use it to treat depression?
It's a horse tranquilizer.
No, I know that, but I've heard that perhaps microdosing it can.
Yeah. I haven't heard about ketamine. I've heard about MDMA getting used by psychologists.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about like the I know Tim Ferriss is big into the effects of particularly psychedelics. But I've also heard
psilocybin, man.
Right. Yes. Yeah. I don't know much about that, but I've also, sort of heard about, sort of drug therapy, and where they sort of might microdose MDMA and then sort of talk about their problems and their traumas. So,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
mean,
MDMA
for
is
me,
going to be a good one for that, eh? Like,
the worst idea in the world. I mean, someone who already deals with, anxiety, sitting there with some, an added, ingredient thrown into the mix. I'm sat there chewing my face off, talking about my biggest insecurities. Oh, yes, please.
Yeah, I suppose that. I mean, if you mixed Ket with MDMA, it'd kind of make sense because then you're kind of opening them up. You're filled with love, and then you got the psychologist there who is there to help you. So I mean, you open up to them quite a bit. And you get a
like
lot
a
of stuff out there.
pretty full on therapy session, doesn't it? I don't know how.
The psilocybin stuff, though.
If you get away with claiming being part of that on Medicare.
Just a fucking
good time, isn't it?
Oh, fuck. In a dream world, mate. In a dream world. That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, the psilocybin studies they're doing at Harvard at the moment are pretty fucking next level. Like, they're finding that these people, it's not every person, but a lot of people, they are finding, like, a measurable amount of people are having these experiences where some patients are 60 years old, they're having one psilocybin experience and they're coming back and then changing so much of their life after this one experience of just, getting woken up and being like, oh, fuck, I've been smoking for 60 years of my life, cigarettes, and now, after this one fucking acid trip, I'm never smoking again. And all these traumas come back.
Isn't it? And that, I mean, on one hand, I suppose it's got its pros and cons, doesn't it? But I don't know about you, but I was always brought up to be very wary of, psychedelics and drugs that allow you to sort of go on a trip where you're almost having, hallucinogens, because, you do hear stories about people sort of, tripping and then just never coming back.
Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone like that, though?
I don't.
Yeah, me either.
You and I have a mutual friend who sounds like he knows somebody who has gotten to that place, which is very scary. But that's probably one thing that would stop me ever trying anything like that. I mean, like I'm done now with all of that. I just think that I've done my dash. I've explored. I know what what it's capable of, and that's cool and it's exciting. But I think that the downside really sort of far outweighs the positives for me. But what I was going to say is, I feel like it's a big risk to go down that path where you go, I've changed everything, because, I mean, who's to say that the change is for better? And who's, I suppose it's all how you look at it, right?
I mean, things like
I think you'd have to, sure, but, is that really the only thing that's going to change? Like, I don't know. Just, this is going on, my very limited, ill-educated, limited knowledge and ill-educated opinion. I mean, my thoughts are you'd have to really be at rock bottom. You know what I mean? To be willing to sort of take that plunge, I suppose. You know what I mean? You'd have to really be down and out. I mean, from a depression point of view, I mean, if you were ready to throw the towel in, fucking why not roll the dice? I think if you're a functioning member of society and you're just having trouble giving up the cigarettes, maybe just go and meet a few people on their deathbed who have emphysema. I mean, surely that's gonna
do it.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one. Well, like just to counter what you were saying before, though, like that mutual friend of ours. First of all, I don't know how reliable his stories are. I've heard a lot of stories that turn out to be complete bullshit. So but. Not a bad bloke. Not a bad bloke at all. Not saying that. I'm just saying he likes talking shit. Yeah, very, very good at telling stories. But when you've got places like Harvard, that kind of changes it for me. When you've got Harvard looking into it, it's like, something has to be there. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it.
I definitely right on that front. Yeah.
And like a lot of people do hit rock bottom, man. Like, there's so fucking many. Especially depression is a motherfucker. And you got like most people too, they turn to like heroin and stuff like that. So if psilocybin was more talked about and more accepted in society as kind of a better thing, then fuck, people, doing psilocybin trips instead of doing fucking heroin, mate, I'd be fucking all for that. All for that.
Yeah.
Um,
Look, I agree with that. I think as long as the the research is there and suggests that there are no side effects. Or at least the side effects.
There will definitely be side effects. There'll be side effects to everything, mate. Everything.
Yeah.
What do you feel about weed?
Tis what it is. I think. What a pathetic answer. It is what it is.
What about this then? You've said you're not doing drugs, but would you?
What he's saying, isn't it? It is what it is. Or it's just one of those things. One of fucking what things? What are you comparing it to? I want to know what you're comparing this to. It's what do I think about weed? I think it's a heavier drug than a lot of people think it is.
Oh yeah.
You've got people who say, Satan's bloody, I don't know, bush. But
Satan's flower.
Yeah, I think if you've got the head for it, sure. I don't know how I feel about the hydroponic stuff that's been sort of
strength, man.
That's been engineered. Yeah, I think, this when you're getting sort of mind rate.
Like I don't mean to cut you off there, but Joey Diaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Stars of Death. Have you ever seen that?
I have.
Yeah,
you sent
right.
I have seen that.
Oh man, that is those things were like 40% THC. 40%. You're a little fucking gummy bear, man. They don't sell them anymore. They stopped selling them. I think it was 2 years ago. But man, they used to fuck people up. Especially, and it just comes in like this little gummy bear. Next fucking minute, your brain is just detached from your body.
Yeah, next thing you know.
Yeah, he was saying that he had this one lady on. He's had heaps of people on do it, obviously, but this one lady who was like a heavy weed smoker, she popped one, and then next minute she was she did a lap of the block, walked around the block, and then ended up walking back in and called an ambulance and got taken off to the emergency room overnight where they watched it.
Sounds well at the Harvey family Christmas party.
She probably fit right in.
Calling herself an ambulance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen what it's done to people that I know, and it's not so much how their behaviour on it. I think it's just after chronic use, and I notice personality changes. I've noticed people become increasingly paranoid, and a little bit agitated and feeling like. Yeah, and that really scares me. That's why I don't touch that either. In fairness, I think long term use. Some people just seem to have the head for it, and they're fine, and they can go long term. I myself know what I'm like on it, and I get sort of fuzzy brained, and I don't really like that. I like feeling quite sharp and clear. And then I think I'm already in my own head enough of the time. I've already got fucking insecurities and problems to deal with. Rather than stack that on top. Yeah.
That's actually one.
So I got no issues with it. I mean, do I think it should be legal? Sure. I think. The problem is the government kind of has to save us from ourselves, right? Because we're only as strong as our weakest link, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people out there who are pretty thick. Do I think it's going to do more damage than alcohol? No, I don't think it would do more damage. I think in the short term, if it immediately became legal, a lot of people would be doing a lot of weed. But I think hopefully over time it would balance out, similar to that which you've seen in the likes of Amsterdam. Where it seems to be well regulated and they seem to live sort of fairly very carefree lives.
Pretty good lives, yeah. Yeah, you see this, I've done a lot of research on it because I'm always curious as to know what the fuck's going on there. And when they do legalize it, you do see a spike, but then, like you said, it evens out. Like, because you get all these people who are like, oh, we can do it now. Like when you're 18, you're like, fuck, I can drink now, and you just go mental. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. That's exactly right. That insecurity that you're talking about, that is my favorite part about weed, is when you're in your own head, just like, what are you doing? Oh. You're thinking about thinking. I fucking love that, man. I love it. Gets me going, bro.
All that, even when I'm drinking, that part just before you throw up on yourself or you pass out,
Yeah.
that anxiety where everything kind of becomes surreal. I'll never forget. I basically just played a football tournament, and where we were playing sort of 2 or 3 games a day, and then the idea was then to go back to my cousin's place, and then we would drink and we were going to have a bit of a party. And I was only young at the time. I was probably 18, 19, so still sort of fairly new to drinking. I mean, I say new. I'd had a couple of big nights in high school, but I wasn't a proper drinker, obviously. But then, when I sort of got out of home, I was potentially still living at home, but obviously drinking, and got to this party, didn't have any dinner, and then started necking JD and Cokes, like the premix. Yeah. And I had about maybe 6 of them in an hour, and then the next thing I knew, like everything just sort of slowed down. I had that moment where it was super surreal.
Yeah.
And then I threw up on the table of drink in front of everyone. Then I threw up on the carpet.
Yep.
And then, almost as if wanting to ruin the whole party, right?
Oh, not the host.
I have no idea how this happened, but apparently I very specifically sought out the host.
Oh, mate.
the host's niece's guitar and threw up in the hole.
Oh no, I've lost ya. Oh, bros, no. That's
right.
Oh man. Oh fuck, that's so funny.
I've thrown up
right in the hole. In the hole of the guitar.
In the hole. Filled it. Apparently they'd left the room, came back, and I was just sort of sit there, head on chest, sort of wobbling like a newborn baby.
Yeah.
And they're inside the middle of the I don't know what you call that, but in the hole. Yeah. Through the strings, and then the strings were obviously dribbling with fucking all sorts, mate. That was an awful.
Yeah. I have no doubt in my mind alcohol is the worst drug out of all of them, without a fucking doubt, man. How it is legal and the others aren't, I will never fucking understand that.
I don't know about the worst. I don't know if it's the worst.
Health-wise, yes.
It has a pretty profound effect.
I don't know, man. Health-wise, it is the fucking worst. For social stuff, it is the fucking worst, man.
Have you seen for social stuff?
Like, when I say social stuff, I mean like alcoholics, like people that drink to the fucking extreme. It can ruin any fucking activity. It can ruin every fucking night out. It can, oh man, it is. I don't know. Yeah, I guess. But mental health it is not better for. Yeah,
it's fucking. I mean, that's not exactly social.
I guess. That's a solid argument. I guess.
Have you I don't know if it's scans or photos of an alcoholic's brain versus I think a heroin addict's brain, or perhaps someone else's brain, another sort of drug. The effects of another drug on the brain, and it's bizarre. It really is. I mean, the alcohol well and truly
just degradates it.
Yeah, big time.
Oh, here we go.
Perhaps it's one or the other.
This is a. I think I can share this. Hold on a second. Yeah, I can share it. Yeah, check this out. You got a normal 43-year-old brain and an alcoholic brain. So yeah, it just fucking destroys the neural activity, man.
That's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, holy fuck, man. It can't be good. It can't be fucking good. There's no way. Continuous drinker over 1 year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting.
That photo, but the other photo, definitely noticeable. Oh, shit. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, cocaine's fucking bad for you too. There you go.
Who would have thought?
Yeah. Apparently, though, this is one I only found out when I was looking into drugs, is that caffeine has a really fucking bad neurotoxicity. Like, caffeine is not good for the fucking brain over long-term use. Like, really, really fucking bad.
Edit that out. I'm a huge advocate for coffee.
We'll cut that out. So, yes, coffee. Coffee's the greatest. Yeah.
Change that to something else, like kombucha.
Kombucha, man. My ex is a dental assistant, and she reckons when the kombucha phase happened, they saw a massive uptick in like cavities and stuff. It would just rip apart the teeth. Yeah, because how acidic it is. Yeah, they noticed an uptick, man. So
Yeah, right.
stay away from that stuff. Well, or at least fucking brush your teeth afterwards, I guess, is the only way.
Everything gives it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, this comes back to that other thing, man. The main key to life is fucking moderation. Everything. Too much water, you fucking die. Not enough water, you fucking die. It's everything, bro. Everything in life. Too much food, you get fat. Not enough food, you die. Like everything. Drugs, whatever. All moderation. You gotta keep it steady. Find that Goldilocks zone, you know?
I'm not good at that. I'm a very imbalanced.
Mate, none of us are.
Very imbalanced. Yeah.
I'm
envious of people who manage to find that balance.
Yeah, like, oh man, some of them. But it gives you like something to aim towards, I guess. Something yeah. I'll get there one day. So, do you want to tell everyone listening why you've moved down to Sydney? What's inspired the change, mate? What's happened?
Yeah, well, I mean, I was obviously over in the UK. Mm-hmm. I mean, so to give your listeners a bit of context. So I was working in the corporate world. I was in the world of recruitment and was for about 5 years. And look, it was all going really well. But there were a few times over that 5 years where I sort of just started to realize that there was an itch that I wasn't quite scratching. And I think that the job did give me. It gave me a lot of things that I craved. Namely, a sense of purpose, feeling important, as gross as that kind of sounds coming out of my mouth. And, that feeling of progression, recruitment's such a wonderful industry in that, it really does, it is a meritocracy and it rewards people for hard work. And, even at a young age without any sort of formal qualifications, you can rise up the ranks very quickly. It's very black and white. Here are the targets. If you hit the targets, like a lot of sales jobs, real estate, all that kind of thing. If you hit the targets, you will earn X. You will, there's no sort of ifs, buts, or maybes.
When you say recruitment, like what do you mean by that? Can you be more specific?
So I used to recruit in the banks and financial services sector. So, it was a very, very enjoyable job with, a lot of really good, fun people. And then, so it gave me a lot of things that I wanted. But then, it was over those few years where I started to have, sort of had my doubts. And I remember when I was 21, I got really unhealthy, and I got myself into a real spot of bother. And I just remember sitting down with my father and just sort of bursting into tears and just sort of telling him that, I couldn't do it anymore. I was in a dark place and I needed to pursue, something that was creative, and at the time it was acting and this is back in 2015 and he sort of said, well, why don't you go and start doing some acting classes? So I did, and I went and did some acting classes, and it was fine. It wasn't the right time for me, and I don't think it was the right place. And then I sort of threw it to the side and thought, oh, well, I've tried it, and now I don't ever want to go back to it. But I think it was just the fact that I wasn't ready emotionally. I wasn't at my breaking point, and I wasn't in a good, in a good headspace. Anyway, long story short, as possible.
Mate, take your time.
I then started to, really make headway in recruitment, and it was all going really well for me. And then an opportunity came up within the organisation. They actually sort of headhunted me to move down to Sydney with them, and that was fantastic. I was so excited about that. And so I suppose, all these wins and this feeling of, getting better and moving up and the accolades and all that kind of thing and the attention that I was getting drew attention away from the fact that I wasn't really happy. I wasn't living my truth. And, then I started to sort of lie to myself. I was not only lying to other people, but lying to myself. And I think it's a scary place to be when that happens. But I think a lot of people do it. and I was living a very fast lifestyle. I was earning really good money, and at a young age, and I was given a lot of responsibility, and I started to get this sense of sort of a false sense of self-worth, and what became apparent was that I was living life according to what other people consider to be successful. And I think that's very dangerous, and it's a slippery slope, particularly if you start to become successful in that field, because it's very hard to then turn around and say no to that. You know what I mean? The thought of turning my back on, working my ass off. I don't necessarily. I think what I have over, a lot of people when it comes to pursuing things is my work ethic. And, I learned that from my father from a very young age. He started up a business between him and his business partner, and they never went back. And then, that they basically have always stuck it out even through the tough times. And, now they run a show of sort of 50 people, and it's a very reputable sort of mid-sized organization. So and I grew up seeing him work Saturdays, Sundays, relentlessly, and so it was drummed into me, and I used to play high level football. I played semi-professional football as sort of a late teenager, early 20s, and it was that work ethic that kind of got me there. So it was all sort of drummed into me. And, the idea of sort of turning my back on how hard I'd worked to get to where I was in recruitment, as well as what everyone would think of me, played a really big part in me, not taking a leap, I suppose, and listening to my own gut and my own instinct, because there were several occasions. It's really funny, actually. I suppose, just to go back a step, I think what always stopped me was the fear of, it wasn't the fear of failure. I think a lot of that stops a lot of people. I don't think I am scared to fail, to be honest. And I think I say that with a fair amount of confidence. I think I say that with a fair amount of confidence. That doesn't sound very convincing, does it?
Very convincing. Very convincing.
I lived 25 years of lying to myself, so these days I really got to catch myself out on it. Yeah. But I think that what I was most afraid of was what people would think of me, and it was more about if I took a leap, quit my job, and then moved to Hollywood to make it, which was in my plans, everyone would say, he has lost the fucking plot. And then I thought, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for money? What am I going to do for this, that, and the other? And so that played a really big part. And it kind of came to a head when my sister came to me and she said, she was very emotional and said, look, I need your help. I don't want to have another year. She was only young at the time. I mean, she's absolutely fantastic. She's such a, she's a beautiful young lady that I've been fortunate enough to grow very close with over the last sort of 12 to 18 months since moving to the UK and going through a lot of family issues. We've really just sort of had each other, so it's been nice. But she sort of came to me and just said, look, I need to set some goals, and I've always been big on setting goals, writing them down and putting them on the wall, and sort of striving for those kind of things. I'm big into that and have been for a long time since I moved in with my best mate who's right into professional development. And she said to me, look, let's set some goals, because I don't want to have another year of nothingness, because she'd just come off the bat of finishing sort of high school, where she did a full-time dance program, and then went to then moved to Sydney kind of thing to pursue dancing sort of on a professional level. She's a fantastic dancer. She's now in the UK, getting sponsored as a dance teacher. But she sort of said to me, look, I don't want to have another nothing year. Can we sit down and talk about, putting in place a plan? I said, sure. So we sat down and we sort of talked about it. And I sort of said, well, what do you want? What do you really want? And she said, I want to be a makeup artist. And I said, really? You want to be a makeup
Judge
artist?
her, mate. Don't judge her.
I was like, well, this is the thing, right? I said to her, I've known you for 20 years. At no point have you mentioned wanting to be a makeup. I said, conversely, you've wanted to be a dancer for as long as I can remember. You've been performing since you fucking came out of the womb. I said, so something doesn't add up. I said, look, if you don't want to be a dancer, that's fine. But I don't know, are you being truthful here? And then she burst into tears. And she just sort of said, look, she kind of felt a bit of it, because she, growing up, was a phenomenal dancer, and everyone used to give her so much in the way of compliments, and would be incredibly complimentary. Yeah, and supportive of her pursuits. That a lot of people would say that she was the best young dancer that they'd seen. She had, trials with, I think, the Australian Ballet and the Queensland Ballet, and she basically had imposter syndrome. She said, I don't feel like I'm as good as what people think I am, and which is mental. A lot of people, and I know this is talked about so much, and I'm certainly not sharing anything that's new, but a lot of people look at people who look confident, and they think that if someone's really good at something, that they have a lot of belief in themselves, but it's often not the case. A lot of people have imposter syndrome. I personally have suffered it on quite a large level, and it caused me a huge amount of anxiety. I mean, it was 5 years in recruitment of working my ass off because I was afraid I was going to be found out. He was a kid who didn't do that well in school, really. I mean, I certainly had the potential, but I thought I was going to be a footballer. So for me, it was throw caution on the wind, fuck school. I'm going to be I'm a pro footballer. And then when that didn't turn out, I went to university, and then ended up dropping out of university. And so this was my first proper job, and I fucking I lied on my. I put my best mate as my reference, and
yes,
and got the job, and I couldn't believe it, and so when I got in there, to be treated like an adult, and to be allowed to do the things that I did, was just phenomenal. So I never stopped working. Anyway, back to my sister. She said, look, I don't feel like I live up to what everyone else thinks, and I'm just, kind of, I suppose, and she didn't say this in as many words, basically was afraid that she would pursue it and not make it. And I just remember sort of stopping her and saying, look, you do not want to wake up at 40 years old in the middle of the night in a cold sweat next to someone you don't really love, that you've settled for, living a life that is not true to, who you are and who you're meant to be. You might as well give it a red hot crack when you're young, and if you fail, at least you'll never say, what if?
Yeah.
And, we continued that conversation, and she felt really good about it, and we actually then went and sort of booked, I can't remember if we booked flights on the day to London, but we basically from there said, right, what do you want to do? And she said, well, I'd love to perform in the West End, and I'd love to, do this, that, and the other. And I said, fantastic, let's write it down. Let's set a savings account up, and let's get you over there, kind of thing. And she booked it all, and then she got her visa, and then fair play to her, she fucked off, and she's still in the UK now.
Awesome.
But it's so funny. It was a very emotional conversation, and as soon as I finished it, I walked out, and I was in tears. I was holding back the tears when I was talking to her, but I just had this overwhelming sense of hypocrisy. I just remember thinking, like, really? You're going to give that advice when you know for a fact that you're doing exactly what you just said not to do? And that was a real call for me. And that started to put a lot of questions in my mind. And, I was then, I called my dad a couple of days later, and I was, again, just very emotional, in tears, saying to him, look, I can't do this. I've just had this conversation with April, and basically told her that she needs to just take the leap of faith, because, even if you do fail, at least you're not going to die wondering. And here I am, just doing something that if I'm being honest with myself, isn't true to me. And he said, sort of, I mean, look, I love my dad to pieces, and he's always been big into, follow your dreams. But I think that he you know, he grew up in an era where, you know, he's taken a lot of risks. Don't get me wrong. You know, to start business from scratch is something that I am, you know, incredibly proud of him for doing, and I think it shows a lot of guts. But I think there's measured risks. You know what I mean? And particularly as a father, you know, you don't want to see your children, you know, just go, you know, fall off the ledge. And you know, admittedly, you know, with the entertainment industry, it's fucking risky. It is fucking risky. And it's not necessarily a case of talent. There are plenty of talented people that don't make it. And I think, you know, in acting in particular, which at this time I was talking to my father about, you know, your success to a huge extent is in the hands of somebody else. You know what I mean? You're not solely in control. And I know a lot of pursuits are. You know, you look at football and a lot of people say, you know, if you're good enough, you'll make it.
Not the case.
There is an element of luck. You create your own luck. Don't get me wrong. I am very adamant on that. But right place, right time. Also, being given the right opportunities as a youngster will give you access to better training and so on and so forth. Like if you've got the right work ethic and the right foundations, and you were then sent over to, you know, Europe or you know, South America to go through their academy program where you're training every day with the world's, you know, top coaches, that's a very different story, you know, as opposed to, you know, growing up in Australia where they've got one rep system that's, you know, incredibly flawed. So, you know, to go down the entertainment path is a very risky business, because ultimately, you know, you're putting yourself out there to be judged by other people, and you've only got a limited amount of control over you know, where you end up. So understandably, he sort of said, look, you know, I think you need to, you know, he said, I think there's something in this, because it's the second time, obviously, that we've explored the fact that you need to be doing something creative. Why don't you go and talk to this psychiatrist that I've that we've been doing some work with through their business, because this guy was a business coach as well as sort of like, well, I suppose, I can't remember if he was a trained psychiatrist or a psychologist. He was more of like a life coach, I suppose. A bit like a Tony Robbins. It was the poor man's Tony Robbins. So I went and saw him, and we had a big conversation, and he sort of said, you know, tell me about your life story. And what came out was that, you know, I am a performer. And I've always been a performer. I grew up a dancer. I danced for, you know, 5 years from the age of 5. Me and my sister.
You come from a dancing family?
We do. My mother was a dancer, and my dad's got some of the best moves, you know, this side of the equator. And and we're not afraid to drop it low on the dance floor. And you know, so I started off with that, and then I moved into, you know, and I always loved playing around at home, you know, on film and all that kind of thing. I always used to, you know, I was big into surfing because my dad's an avid surfer, and you know, I always used to make sure that Mum would film me, and then I'd come back and, you know, watch it. I'd get really angry at her if she missed the wave that I'd gone. But you know, you know, and then it was the football, and I think what was so enjoyable for me about the football was the performance aspect. You know, was up until, you know, I was you know, at the sort of pointy end of my career. I say career. I hung the boots up at the ripe old age of 21. But at what was obvious for me in hindsight was the performance aspect, you know, and the fact that I was good, particularly in the younger years when it was, you know, I was playing sort of the lower divisions. I was a standout, and I really enjoyed the recognition. So I suppose it was all a bit of a narcissistic pursuit in the end. But I realized that I was more of a performer, and so and this psychologist, this business coach or life coach I went to see, sort of brought that out in me. He said, you know, you need to be, you know, scratching that itch, for want of a better word. And he sort of said, you know, what do you really want? What do you want to do? And I said, well, I've always, you know, really, you know, liked the idea of trying stand-up comedy. He said, then you need to do that. And so I actually went to a stand-up comedy school, and did about
that was a thing. I feel like stand-up comedy would not have that.
Yeah,
one thing in life you can't learn.
Well, that's the thing. There is a lot of people don't realize there is a lot of method to the madness, and and you know, and a lot of the comedians don't talk about it, which, to be honest, really bugs me.
Joe talks about it a lot.
Does he? Yeah. I think, you know, for me, it's and I think there's a lot of people out there who don't, sort of post content of them when they weren't funny or when they were younger and all that kind of thing. And that really grinds my gears, because I think it's important for, up and coming comedians and entertainers and all that kind of thing to be able to see that people are human, you know what I mean? And to see where they've come from, because it gives people hope. But I think it is a vanity thing. I think people want to maintain that air of,
I'm the greatest.
mystery, or that untouchability, so that people go, oh, they've always been fantastic. And it's like, no, they haven't. Everyone, I promise you, and this is why I respect stand-up comedians more than most other crafts, or at least entertainment, the world of entertainment. I've got to be careful here, because I don't want to detract from, the many wonderful actors and actresses out there, and dancers and singers. But, I think there is the opportunity in a lot of fields to get lucky, to be scouted, to be seen on the street, for example. And you hear this, oftentimes, they became an overnight success, right? And I think particularly for modeling, that people might have a certain look about them, or in movies, someone might, have a little something about them, and then they can make it overnight, you know what I mean? Whereas with stand-up comedy, there's no getting lucky.
Yeah.
There is no overnight success. There is years and years of going to open mic nights and workshopping your material. Now, I don't care if you're the funniest person out. You still need to find your audience. You still need to workshop jokes, because everything that comes out of your mouth is not going to be funny. You need to have stage time. There is literally there is nothing that compares to stage time when it comes to stand-up comedy. And so the guys that have made it, this is why you very rarely see super successful young comedians, unless they've been doing it from like the age of 10, right? It doesn't happen, because it just takes so many years to workshop jokes, so many years to put quality material together. I mean, I've been doing stand-up comedy now for 2.5, nearly 3 years this coming May. And I've got 5 minutes of solid material, like 5 minutes of jokes I know will consistently get laughs. So that gives you something. Obviously, once you've worked out your formula, it's a lot easier and quicker to put a set together, because you understand what your audience enjoys, and sort of the very specific recipe for getting your audience to laugh. But it takes time, man. It takes a long time, particularly to get that first hour. You speak to a lot of experienced comedians, particularly comedians that break in. It takes them a long time to get their first show to put to put together, and so yeah. I mean, that's why I've got a lot of respect for stand-up comedians. So yeah, he sort of said, look, go and do this, comedy, as much as you can. So I went to comedy school. And sorry, I know this is quite a drawn-out story and probably not very interesting for listeners.
Fuck them. If they don't want to listen, they don't want to listen. Keep talking.
No, we love you, listeners. You want to keep us going?
No, fuck off.
So I went to stand-up comedy school, which was fucking something else. Just the kind of people you would expect to attend a stand-up comedy school attended the stand-up comedy school. So I'll let your minds fill in the blanks there as to the caliber of people. Put it this way: there weren't a lot of people with full-time jobs. So so it was a fairly eclectic mix with varying levels of funnies. So anyway, then I graduated and I thought, okay, well, this is pretty good. And I did my first show and I got my first.
How long did it take?
Laughs. The school or to graduate? It was 6 weeks of 3 hours every Saturday. So it wasn't overly intensive, but they basically taught you how to structure a set, how to structure a joke, the different types of comedy, the do's and don'ts kind of thing. The etiquette. And it was definitely worthwhile, and I think it propelled me further along, because I think a lot of people just stand up and think they can just say some funny stories that they've heard, but what you don't realize as an amateur comedian who hasn't had any training is you got to trim a lot of fat. There's a lot of shit that we say when you're first starting out that is totally irrelevant. And the art in comedy. I mean, there's a lot that goes into comedy, but you want to say as few words as you can that will still allow you to get the message across and allow it to be funny. Basically, you want to cut all the unnecessary shit, because what you don't realize is you should be aiming for 5 to 6 laughs per minute, right? At least, it does. But if you've ever been to a comedy show, or the next time you watch a bit of comedy, time it.
Every day.
It's very
every day. To kind of chuck in
that is a laugh every 10 seconds, but there's got to be some kind of punchline. You know what I mean? Whether it's just a funny remark or to have people entertained. Because if you find that there's people, going for 30 seconds without any laughter, then you do start to tread a bit of a fine line. And don't get me wrong, there are some comedians that tell very extended jokes, but you'll notice they're not all like that. They're certainly not all like that, and you have to build that. You know what I mean? So yeah, you got to be very sort of careful about that.
Not to cut you off there, but one guy that does it is Norm Macdonald. Man, he has a 10-minute joke, and it is the fucking greatest, man. You're getting led down this forest with you think it's going this way, and then you think it's going that way, and then by the time you get to the end of it, this fucking journey of listening to this guy.
Is that the one where he talks about neighbor being gay or something?
No, that's the psychologist where he's gay for having a doghouse.
That's right. Yeah. That is right.
that's another one.
That's pretty funny.
I don't want to ruin it for everyone because it is fucking hilarious. But for 10 minutes, you're just sitting there, and then right at the end, he just cracks it, and it's gold, mate, absolute gold, and it makes that 10 minutes. You're like, I could listen to that again. Even though it's just 10 minutes. There's a laugh here or there, but that 10 minutes is dry, and it's deliberately so. But then again, Norm is a fucking master. Norm is a fucking master.
The risk of losing people's attention.
Yeah. Unless you don't care, like Norm. Norm doesn't give a fuck. The one thing about Norm is that he isn't the joke. The audience is the joke.
I think what's also fair to mention as well is that depending on who the comedian is will determine how well they're able to maintain the... I mean, if Dave Chappelle goes off on a rant, you better believe that the audience is hanging on his every word, Whereas if Jake Harvey stands up and goes, I'm getting a fucking apple pie thrown at me and a couple of booze.
Free dinner, mate. Free dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
That's about your point about failing though, is that is one of the main reasons I love Joe, is because Joe is always talking about how he gets up on stage and just bombs, just fucking just silence. Yeah. And he talks about it so much, and man, that's one of the main reasons I have so much respect for him, is because he's honest about his career. He's he's worth more than $100 million now. Like, he's by no means some fucking nobody. But he will still at that prestige talk about it. And I love that.
Yeah. I think, comedians who don't, admit to ever bombing, people who say they've never bombed, I think it just says so much about them as people not being able to admit that, I mean, you really expect us to believe that you stepped on stage as an 18-year-old had the crowd in stitches. Like, that is mental. Nobody.
Maybe Bill Hicks. Bill Hicks died pretty fucking young, and he was 18 actually. He was 18 when he started, and in Texas as well. 18 and in Texas, and he fucking took off. That's fucking impressive. That's once in a lifetime though. There's not gonna be another one of those for another fucking 100 years.
I mean, Dave Chappelle's pretty incredible.
Yeah. Hey, actually, now that you mentioned that, how am I blanking? Red Leather. Who's Red Leather? Raw. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy was 19 when he was on Late Night. 19 years old, making the entire fucking audience piss themselves, man.
I'm fairly sure.
How old was he in Raw, actually? Yeah.
I think either Raw or Delirious, he was only 20, like 20 and then 22, I think. I mean, to have that sort of a following is unreal. unbelievable.
Fuck.
So he is someone that, certainly.
Again, those are once in a lifetime people. They're so fucking rare.
Yeah,
Eddie
you're not
Murphy
wrong.
Raw. It came out in 1987. Holy fuck! Holy fuck! Oh, no. Yeah, Eddie Murphy Raw. Yeah, 1987, bro. Holy fuck.
Pretty timeless too, isn't it? Really?
Oh man, there's some stuff in there that you might get beaten for saying these days.
Oh, sure. But I mean, if you're not too sensitive, then it's timeless.
Yeah. All right. So it's 1987. Let's do some quick math. 1 + 1.
What is it? 33 years? 34.
Yeah, 34 years. And he's how old now? 59 minus 34. What do we got? God damn. I don't want to look like a fucking idiot, so I use a calculator. But he was 25 when he did Raw. That's nuts.
Yeah, right.
That is fucking nuts, man.
That is.
How?
2 years ago.
Bro.
That's 2 years ago for me. Getting up in front of what? How many people there? 30,000? Oh, I don't know.
Bro.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Not to mention how many fucking people are watching as well. I mean, goddamn.
Yeah.
Still, I could watch Raw on repeat right now, and I'd still be pissing myself without a fucking doubt. I do want to comment something just before you keep going. I do want to comment on something you were saying before about luck. There is a book I read. I fucking recommend it to everyone. It's by a fella named Nassim Nicholas Taleb. He used to work in Wall Street for the main banks, and he used to do the stock trading. And he talks. When we're talking IQs, man, this guy is fucking above everyone else. And he's got this book here called Fooled by Randomness. And he talks about how much luck plays in. Yeah, Fooled by Randomness, the hidden roles of chance in life and in the markets. It's not just about the markets, obviously, but he talks about how big luck is in all decisions in life. I mean, to not count on luck, you're not understanding how reality works. And but this book, because I'm heaps into money and figuring out how money works and all that kind of stuff, so I found this when I was looking into that. And what he says about how the banks and everything, just prey on luck and they just keep hiring people that are lucky. Like, that's one of the main hiring points in the fucking stock market is people that are lucky. And they'll have like 10 goes in a row. He was talking about how depression kicks in as well. And he was saying you'll have like 10 people in a row you'll have people that make 10 guesses in a row of, invest in this stock. And they'll be like, I use this formula. And you'll talk to them and they'll be like, I did this and this. And that's why I was successful. And, they have 10 in a row and they're like, I use this formula and it worked out this way. And, I know the market. And then they'll get to the 11th one and then it would completely bomb. And then they'll be like, what the fuck happened? I used the same formula. I did the same thing. I had it all locked down. And then it's like, no, you didn't. You just had 10 goes where every single time it was based off pure luck. And now that luck has run out. And so what will actually happen in Wall Street is they'll have a real high turnaround of people because it's actually just the banks that are making money. And what's happening is that these people getting brought in are just off luck. It's purely, like 80-90% of everyone there is purely hired just for luck. And as soon as their luck runs out, they're fired, new person gets
trading on a trading floor sort of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which is crazy. Yeah, check that book out. It's fucking detailed. Like, this guy, when I was reading it at least, I'm just like, holy fuck, this guy, I've got to read this 3 or 4 times before I understand it. But man, it is
I tell you what is, just on the topic of luck, I mean, something that I've actually, I've been aware of it in my own life and the power of it, and I think it's certainly worth mentioning. A lot of people talk about creating your own luck.
Yeah. Which you can do.
Absolutely, and I didn't really know what that meant. My dad always used to say that, I used to think, if I'm lucky, and I used to say that, and he said, you create your own luck, mate, and he would always say that, and I never really knew what it meant, but I was actually at a Tony Robbins seminar, and he started talking about, I'm a huge fan of Tony Robbins.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I'm not your guru.
He's played quite a pivotal role in me taking a leap of faith, actually. But when we're at this seminar, he talks about the reticular activating system, and I don't know if you're aware of what that is, but it basically, for the listeners that don't know, the reticular activating system is basically a part of the brain, and its biological purpose is to allow you to notice things that, you know, the subconscious, I believe, or the conscious mind deems to be important. And to give you an indication as to the practical application, it would be like finding berries in the bush that we can eat, that are healthy and that won't kill us. The reticular activating system turns on and goes, right, this coloured berries can sustain it. Now you start to notice it everywhere, right? So the same, where most people see it in their own lives is you buy a red car and all of a sudden you see all these red cars on the road, right?
GTA
or you get a certain you either get a t-shirt and then you start seeing this shirt everywhere and you go, oh bloody hell, everyone's got this shirt. That's the reticular activating system working. It's not that they weren't there the whole time, it's that your brain blocked it out. Because I mean, if we were to know absolutely everything that goes on every day, we'd go into a spin, right?
You couldn't handle it. You couldn't handle it.
You couldn't. It'd just be, sensory overload. So what's really interesting is, that's where I think the power of mantras and writing down your goals and consistently asking the right questions help you, because you're telling your subconscious mind, look out for these things. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people think, oh, I could never be an entrepreneur, I just don't have good ideas.
Not true.
I get that. I've been there, right? I certainly have. But if you start to ask the right questions of yourself, instead of asking, why can't I have a good idea, but rather thinking, how can I make money? What do people need? What is missing? What things, annoy me that I could, improve in the world and then charge a profit, charge a certain amount of money for. If you start asking better questions, your brain will come up with better answers. And I've certainly noticed that in my own life, which was how I suppose I managed to experience, what little success I did in the short time that I was over in the UK, was just looking for the opportunities and just being very fortunate to, to be in those positions. A lot of people would call it luck, but the reality was I was putting myself out there. I was online applying for acting jobs for 2 hours every single day. I would say that I applied for over 100, acting gigs. I probably got maybe 10 callbacks, so a 10% hit rate, not great. And
that's actually pretty good, man. 10% is pretty fucking good.
But I mean, if we're talking sort of straight down the line as to what they were looking for, I then maybe got of the 10 callbacks I submitted a tape for. I got 3 jobs while I was over there, and I was fortunate enough to pick up one mini series on a Facebook page that has 3 million followers, and was getting, the mini series was averaging sort of 500,000 views every episode. It was called On the Tools. Right. So that, I mean, that was just a case of going, okay, how do I make money doing what I want to do? And I didn't want to get a part-time job. I didn't want to work in a call center. I didn't want to do all these things. I wanted to work as little as possible so I could focus on the comedy. I wanted to do the acting, and just, I suppose, through putting myself out there and looking at the opportunities that were there, was fortunate enough to land on that. So I think when it comes to luck, the reticular activating system plays a really big part in you starting to notice opportunities. So for people who are looking to start a business, if you're asking the right questions and you're noticing things in the world, more things start to pop up. Which is, I think, really exciting. There's actually another book on that's on a sort of slightly separate note about learning new skills. It's called The Talent Code. And I would strongly advise anyone who's interested in learning new skills, or the power of the mind, whether it be a physical skill or even learning a new language, for example, It is it's a very powerful book. It basically talks about neural pathways and neuroplasticity and basically how your brain is actually physically growing and making new connections, like any other muscle, when you learn a new skill. And it talks about the ways to learn new skills, and it's a very, very interesting book. And after that, you read it, and for me, I finished that book and I went, wow, I can literally learn. I can teach myself anything. I can teach myself anything. It's just, it might take someone longer than another person because of, factors which, include, what other skills they've acquired from a young age. If they've always been playing competitive sport or something that requires hand-eye coordination, they're probably going to pick something up that's physical a lot quicker than someone who isn't as sort of physically, tuned in or trained. But it all just comes down to repetition. Absolutely.
I mean, there is some things where you've got the people who are naturally gifted at it, and then they spend their entire lives dedicated to it. And those people,
it is interesting that you say that, because this book suggests there is no such thing as natural talent. And they
look at the bodybuilders of the world. That is not. I mean, there's what's his fucking name? The King, or whatever the fuck he calls himself.
Ronnie Cole.
I think it's Ronnie. Yeah, he says that there was a couple of guys who were coming in second and third place, and he was saying that these guys were working their fucking ass off, man, like in the gym, like 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. And because Ronnie was naturally gifted and then put in the extra work on top, that these guys who weren't naturally gifted still couldn't keep up because he had that bugger there.
Sure, a small caveat.
Yeah,
I think,
but that's not to tell anyone to stop trying. By no means am I fucking saying that. Keep fucking trying, obviously.
You heard it here first. Finn said, why bother? There's always
give up. You will fail. Just don't even try.
Yeah. Probably not you, son. Probably not you. No. I think the thing is, okay. So small caveat. When it comes to being, there is always going to be a difference when it comes to physical makeup, right? It has been proven that some people have more fast twitch muscle fibers than others. Genetically, we are all different.
Just to add to it, I could train every day to run. I'm never going to beat Usain Bolt. I can fucking promise you, no matter how hard I try, it's not happening.
We are not on an even playing field, and I should probably go back and say that, I can't perhaps, I can't learn anything and I can't, achieve every single goal. But this book certainly makes you realize that you can learn and do a lot more than what you think. And all it really takes is deliberate and very specific practice. And it goes into the types of practice that you can look at.
Yeah. Hedge your bets almost in a way.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, it's just a case of, how much does belief play a part? I think if you believe that you're able to achieve something, then you are more likely to give more of yourself. You're more likely to take more risks. You're more likely to spend the 10 hours a day that it requires, to learn a certain skill, for example.
Yeah. They I want to go back to something you said as well. The writing your goals out. I just watched your favorite comedian Theo Von have on Chris Nickick. I think I'm saying it right.
Not my favorite comedian.
No. You tell me you love him, man. What are you talking about?
Theo's not my boy. Don't get me wrong. I respect him. He's just not my sense of humor.
Anyway, he had on Chris Nickick. Pretty sure I'm saying that right. Who is now the first Down syndrome person in the world to complete an Ironman challenge. He fucking nailed it. Yeah, man. It is fucking impressive. And he has, above his bed, he has a whiteboard that's just fucking huge. And it's got his fucking goals on there. And every day he fucking wakes up and he looks at that fucking board. And man, to see someone that's been that fucked over in life go on to fucking finish a fucking Ironman, bro. If that doesn't give you fucking hope, I don't know what fucking will. But man, that's impressive.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding of Down syndrome, and forgive me if I'm speaking out of, if what I'm saying is incorrect, but that there's varying degrees of disability. Some are more, sort of affected, I suppose. Not that I know, anything about it, but I mean that's absolutely an impressive feat. But I mean, talking about writing down goals. I mean, I don't really know how, if you intend to be successful, you can not write your goals down. You know what I mean? How, if you don't know what you're aiming for and you don't have a very specific goal in mind, how the fuck are you gonna? You know what I mean? It's a bit like when you ask your girlfriend what she wants for dinner and she says,
"Don't do that."
Yeah, I don't know, you choose, but you know full well you better do something that she likes, but you don't know what she's feeling like. So, how am I going to hit this goal if I don't know what I'm fucking aiming for? I don't know where the target is.
Yeah,
you
gotta do it. You gotta do it.
I think a mistake that I've made is for a long time was was writing down too many goals. I think it's your goals have got to be specific, but I think you can be trying to do too much. And here I was spending a lot of energy, wanting to be in the best shape that I could be in, wanting to be the funniest I could be, the most successful, earn as much money. Whereas the reality is you do have to make sacrifices, and I think you've got to identify what the most important thing is and then really go for it. And I think, a healthy amount of balance is important. I think that there are other times when, it is warranted to be very imbalanced. But, if you've got a specific goal in mind, you can't be too concerned with trying to hit every target, you know what I mean? Because I think
moderation, key to life, man.
Yeah, moderation,
bro. Yeah, you can't stretch yourself thin. You stretch yourself thin, you'll never achieve. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm and perhaps this is.
And we're just 28-year-olds, by the way. Like we have not completed life yet. We're just talking.
Well, exactly. I mean, you're speaking to a bloke who's got fuck all say. Has just moved to Sydney to go to drama school, and is about to be that old cunt at a fucking back at university. So I'll be the guy sitting up front of the lecture, and everyone's going, "Shut up! You want to get out of here and get to the pub." So I certainly don't profess to be, and hopefully I haven't given the wrong impression here. I've got a fucking long way to go. In fact, I am.
Don't we all?
I'm probably one of the biggest losers you guys know. So,
I can promise you this though. Oh, sorry. Oh, fuck, sorry. Burping. Too much suffering. But I can promise you this, man. You are closer to you achieving your dreams than 99% of people out there, man. Without a doubt. How many people at your fucking age have achieved something in their dream that they set a goal for 2 years ago, and you're already fucking doing it, man? That is fucking impressive, bro. Good on you. Good fucking.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. I think it's. I think everyone's at different. Everyone's at different stages. Obviously, I think this comes down to sadly, I think for a lot of people, and I was fortunate enough to reach breaking point. You know what I mean? And I think it's how you look at everything, right? But I reached a point in my life where I was on the brink of a fucking mental breakdown. I was dealing with panic attacks, and I was feeling like I couldn't go on any longer. And then, to go back to the story, I was doing the comedy and it was going really well. And then I went to a Tony Robbins seminar, and he sort of said, are you going to be proud of the person that you see in 10 years' time in the mirror if you keep making the decisions that you're making right now? And I just remember, because we did this exercise where it basically gets you to visualize it and then sort of, see who you are in 10 years or imagine who you are if you keep going down this path of not chasing your real dreams or lying to yourself. And I just remember thinking, oh shit, I don't like that guy at all. Yeah. And so that's when I made a decision, and I thought, right. And I was so close to going back and quitting my job and then going and working in radio. And again, that was just me settling, even though I wanted to go and pursue entertainment, that was me playing it safe again, because I was like, well, it might not work out. So maybe I'll just, maybe I'll do it baby steps so that it's not as drastic a change. And then, and then I decided not to quit my job, and I thought, okay, no, I'll work my ass off till I'm 30, and then I'll have enough savings behind me, and then I'll quit, and then I'll go to the US, and then I can do the Hollywood thing because I'll have enough money behind me. And so I just kept sort of delaying it and putting it because I was scared. And then, fortunately enough, I went. A lot of people think it was unfortunate, but I went to Japan, and we went skiing. I was snowboarding up for me, and second last day of the trip, I went down a little sort of cat track, and first run of the day. It was quite icy. Went up this little embankment, which was quite fun that we'd been doing the day before. Came back down. There was a little bit of a lip that you could sort of pop off, do a bit of an ollie. And when I landed off balance, like sort of backwards as opposed to leaning forward. And I sort of skated with a very narrow cat track, so I had little to no time to basically correct. And because of the way that I landed, I bounced. And so I was skating and bouncing, leaning back, basically unable to do anything. And ended up coming off the side of the mountain at about maybe that high off the ground and at this angle, and basically sort of landed like this against a tree. And it was the worst pain I have ever experienced. Anyone who's broken a rib knows what I'm talking about here. I broke 7 of them, and I didn't quite puncture the lung, but it jabbed into my lung, which caused bleeding on the lung. And I just remember being so winded. And I went to move, right, and like I'm, just so out of breath and just moaning like uncontrollably. And my friend came down and she saw me. She said, "Are you okay?" I think I said 2 things. I was like, "Call Dad, call an ambulance." And Dad was at the bottom of the mountain, and I went to move to sort of crawl up because I was face down, and I could feel my ribs doing this, moving against each other.
Oh shit!
And I could taste blood. Just remember thinking, this could be me here.
Yeah, this is it.
And you don't I hit that at some pace, man. I did. I mean, I'd like to say I did some damage to that tree, but it did a lot of damage to me. But when you're lying there face down, not knowing how long it's going to be till an ambulance can come, because I mean we weren't on like a very popular tourist mountain. The nearest town was a very long way away, and at least I think it was maybe an hour's drive, like a proper town, like a proper hospital. There was only medical centres in between, and they barely spoke any English. The hospital that I ended up at basically spoke 0 English, and everything was communicated via the iPad by Google Translate. It was hilarious. You can imagine the miscommunication that went on. It was bizarre. But I'm lying there, right, tasting blood. My ribs are moving, and I'm thinking this is me. This could be me here. And I ended up being on the mountain for about 20 minutes before the ambulance came up and picked me up. And I was getting ready, I had that moment where you just kind of like
looking back on life.
I don't know how long, I don't know how bad the internal bleeding is here, particularly considering I taste blood. And then they came in and they started cutting down all the trees around me to sort of like lever me up. And so they took my boots off, and then they basically sort of lifted me up, which was excruciatingly painful. Like I could just feel my ribs and everything. And anyway, they put me on the back of this jet ski and then took me down. And it was actually quite funny. I mean, it's funny now, not at the time. Basically, they put me in the back of the of this van, and then we drove to the first medical centre. And they sort of said, "Look, they tried to sort of get me to do an X-ray or a CAT scan. I can't remember what it was, but basically." They wanted to take my clothes off me, and I couldn't take anything off. And so they're like, all right. So they had to cut all my clothes off me. And then they tried to lie me down, and I could not lie down. So that's when they called an ambulance and then basically got me in the back. And the thing is, because they didn't know what was wrong with me and because there was such an issue with communication, I didn't have any painkillers for about 2 hours, right? And I was just in so much pain.
Do you need communication for that? I'm pretty sure, hey, he hit the tree. That seems like giving some fucking painkillers.
Right, I know. You think, how hard is it to just get that message? But anyway, I'll spare you the boring details. We ended up going to 4 hospitals before I actually got any sort of pain relief, because each one that we went to was basically going, we're not equipped to deal with you right now. You need to go to a hospital. You need to go to the emergency. So anyway, they ended up taking me there, and they were trying to lift me off, the stretcher, and I just said, no, don't touch me. I'll do it myself. And by this stage they'd taken my shirt off, and when they took my shirt off, I heard all of the nurses go, "Ooh," and I was like, "Oh god, what the fuck have I done?" So I didn't know what they were looking at because I couldn't turn and have a look. So it was under here, and basically, then they took me into the CT scan. I said, "Look, no more touching me. I'll get off and I'll get onto the CT scan myself." You know, the sort of stretcher that they sort of put you into the machine on. And so I went in. They did it. They came back out and they said, "Right." They did the scans and they came over and they said, with what little English they had, "You don't move anymore."
No move.
It said you not move anymore. Danger to your health. I was like, oh. And this is where they told me that I had 6 broken ribs and a punctured lung. And so I was like, oh, good. So anyway, that's when they basically took me to this proper hospital, which was a specialist or something along those lines. I can't remember. We had to go to a final hospital. They took me in, and then they gave me my first painkiller, which was a suppository. So not only am I, healing over in just absolute agony, they then had to roll me on my side, and the nurse in front of my whole family had to spread my cheek and shove a large white bullet up my ass. So that, and I don't know if you've done suppositories before, but for me,
I can't say I have.
As soon as anything goes in my bottom, word to all you fans out there. As soon as anything goes in my bottom, I immediately need to take a poo. So I need a poo. And so anyway, then they did another scan and there was a breakdown in communication, and they said sixth rib. So my father heard that and goes, "Oh, you've only broken 1 rib. Oh, you'll be fine, right?" And so Dad's, you're fucking Brucey boy, uppercuts, noogies, not giving up. I'm like, I don't know, it feels a lot worse than just 1 rib. And he's like, he goes, "I've broken 2 ribs before," typical dad, You think I should have seen my dad. Yeah, fucking righto, cunt.
We didn't even have painkillers, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Cup of concrete to harden the fuck up. So so at this stage we're thinking it was just the 6th rib, and that rib had grazed the lung. Anyway, the next day we had more scans, and then it came out we've actually broken 7 ribs, and it wasn't a punctured lung, but it was grazed. But to the point where I had half a lung full of blood, which meant that I couldn't fly because it was too dangerous. It would basically, it would be very bad for me. And so from there, it was 10 days in hospital on some of the heaviest painkillers in the world. I would close my eyes and just feel like I was floating. But what was an interesting side effect, which leads on to quite a funny story, was that I sat there because of the heavy painkillers and because of the ribs. I couldn't go to the toilet. I couldn't do a bowel movement, right? So I tried, but would just end up in tears. It was even difficult weeing. And they would have to, sort of roll me into, because I was in a wheelchair and everything. They had to roll me in and then pull my pants down for me, and they would wipe and everything. Like, everything was sort of done for me because I was in such a state. Because the thing is, I'll see if I can send you, I don't know if you're able to post them after the fact.
I can edit them onto the video.
Yeah, I've got some really interesting scans. It's brilliant. It's like 3D sort of X-ray that they've got the ability to sort of do. And so I've got 2 broken on the side, and then there's 5 down my spine. But the thing is, where they are on the spine is where it attaches, and they're very close to nerve endings. So whereas ribs are ordinarily very painful, the problem with what I'd done was they were so close to nerves that they were hitting nerves when I would move. So it wasn't just the rib pain and the not being able to breathe, but I was actually having shooting pains up my spine. So I couldn't bend over. I couldn't push. I couldn't fucking do anything. I had to learn to walk again, basically. And for months I was totally twisted, and even now with my scoliosis, I think it actually has sort of continued to affect the way that I stand now. But what was funny was I was unable to do a poo, and it got to the day 5 mark, and it was funny because what was really interesting was straight after the trauma, I sort of said to them, my mum was like, I'm going to go to the shop. Do you want anything? I was like, well, 7 new ribs would do. But I said, do anything from the shop, and all I wanted was chocolate. And I was on a very restrictive diet at the time. And what's interesting is I just immediately craved glucose. I really needed sugar. So I just said, just get me as much chocolate as you can. So she went out and bought me fuckloads of chocolate. And so I ate like an absolute pig 10 days in the hospital. But so I'm all banked up, 5 days worth of no poos. And I'm set. And I started to sort of worry because I understand that if you're clogged up for too long, it can start to be a real issue. So I said to them, look, I'm taking a poo, I push. What are we going to do? And they said, right, we'll give you some laxatives, and then tomorrow we'll see how you go. They gave me the laxatives. The next day came, still couldn't poo. And then I said, well, what's happening? I really need to go here. I'm feeling, constipated, bloated, this, that, and the other. They said, all right, we'll give you an enema. I was like, great. I've never had an enema. In my life to know that this is probably going to be a bad time. So they come in and they said 11 a.m. if you haven't pooed tomorrow, we'll give you an enema. And I was like, great. So they come in with the enema, right? And for anyone who's there, it's almost like a pipette that they put in your bum, and then they sort of squeeze a solution. I don't know whether it's a saline solution, but some kind of liquid into your bum. You hold it there for a period of time, and then you poo it out. So for me, it was all over Google Translate, and they said how they explained it to me was that they were going to put it into the chamber. And then once it was in the chamber, if I could hold it in the station for 5 minutes, then I'd go to the toilet. So here I am with a pretty full chamber ready to go to the toilet. Basically, this bloke gives it to me. I think his name was Mishi. And Mishi gives me the talk, explains it over Google Translate, puts it in my bum, and then leaves. Now I'm thinking, all right, well, he knows. We've discussed 5 minutes. Hopefully he's going to be back fairly shortly. One would expect that with 5 days worth of, gear, I'm well and truly ready to explode in a moment's notice. So anyway, it gets to like maybe the 1 minute 30 mark, and I'm turtle heading here, and I can feel something coming on. It's about to be a bad time. So I panic and I ring the bell. And then all of a sudden, maybe 30, 40 seconds pass, which feels like, 30, 40 years. And I'm thinking, and then I hear some footsteps and I think, oh, thank fuck, Mishy's on his way back. He comes in, right? Sorry. No, let me go back. I hear footsteps. Yep. And I'm thinking, thank God he's here. I don't have to hold it much longer. He's going to get me off the bed. Exactly. As it gets closer, clickety-clack, 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 a lady comes in, right? And I'm thinking, all right, well, at least he's, hopefully he's giving her the heads up. And she's like, hello, how can I help you? I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, you may want to leave.
She doesn't know what the score is.
Oh,
so I start trying to explain to her, without Google Translate, that he's just put some solution in my bum and I'm about to explode. So then she is like, I don't know what you're saying. I was like, I get that, but can you go and get Mishy? Because this is about to be messy. And she doesn't understand. And I'm going, all right, you know what? Fuck it. Just get out because you can't help me, and that's fine, but something's about to go down, and I don't want you to witness this. But she's still doing it, right? And then I just realized, fuck it, I'm going to have to do it. And so I sat as a 24-year-old and pooed the bed.
Oh, yes, cuz.
Maintaining eye contact with this very attractive young Japanese nurse. But the one thing you have to know about me is when I do big poos, my eyes water. So I'm one of these people. I'm sat there, pooing the bed,
locking eyes,
locked in a very intense gaze with this beautiful young lady with tears streaming down my face. This moment that she realized what was actually going on, and then she decides to leave the room. I'm like,
God. It's
This
too
is
late.
when I need you.
Yeah, it's too
Now!
late now.
Now is when I need you. So anyway, she leaves and goes and gets Nishi. Nishi comes back, right? Cheery as all get out. Mr. J, you ready for the bathroom? I was like, Mishi,
Oh, mate.
about that.
This is the greatest.
And I said, yeah, I kind of already did it. He goes, oh. And then he lifts the blanket and he goes, oh.
Oh.
And then I had a grown man clean up after I shat the bed, and wiped my very dirty bottom.
Oh god.
But I mean, it was. I should. I mean, it was. I don't mean to paint a very vivid picture, but it's kind of hard not to. It was 5 days worth of poo, so
yeah,
it wasn't. That was no small job. But anyway, I do digress. It was this experience, right? It was this experience, particularly lying on the side of the mountain. I know Mishi was he was the greatest bloke. But
you've just ruined his life forever.
So yeah.
You've just ruined his life forever.
Oh yeah, I know.
All those years in medical school.
I know. Poor dude's an accountant now. He gets to leave. Lying on the mountain. And when I first got down the mountain after that whole ordeal, when I was at the bottom and being put into the car, I just burst into tears, man, because I remember thinking how close I'd been to dying. Like if I'd hit that tree 30 centimeters to the left, would have hit the tree with my head and either become a quadriplegic, or if I'd hit it with my face, who knows, man. And that scared the shit out of me. And I just remember thinking, those 10 days in hospital, if I had died, would I have been happy that I was chasing my dreams? Absolutely not. And that is what changed my life. That's when I just decided, nah, enough is enough. I'm going to stop caring what everyone thinks about me. I can't do it. It's killing me. And I need to, regardless of how this goes, I got to take a leap of faith, and I've got to pursue it. I cannot die saying what if, and that was it. And ever since then, I've just been trying to live true to myself, and just trying to, if I have an ambition to do something, no matter how scary it is, and don't get me wrong, man, of course I'm fucking scared, but and I have goals that I don't want to say that they're unattainable, because I believe they are attainable, and that's why I'm that's why I'm pursuing them. But I would much rather be a failure doing something that I love and giving it a red hot crack. I would rather be poor and unsuccessful chasing a dream than successful in a job that just doesn't fulfill me. I refuse to ever play it safe again, because I've done that, and just the thought of going back to that creates enormous anxiety in my mind. And that's what led me to the UK. I quit my job of 5 years. It was at a time when I was managing 15 people in recruitment and working on multi-million-dollar projects for some of the biggest banks in Australia. And then I just said, goodbye to all of that, which kind of shocked a lot of people, because, up until that point, I told everyone I wanted to be the CEO, and, from there, I just went, right, fuck it. And then moved over with what savings I had to the UK, and fucking bounced from hostel to hostel and hustled and got myself, a few jobs, and then the rest is history until COVID hit. And then COVID really threw a bit of a spanner in the works. But to come back to your original question, and perhaps the only question that you've asked, but taken 2 hours to answer, that is why I'm in Sydney. I was starting to experience a bit of success over there. I just signed with an agent in the UK, and which was really exciting for me because I became increasingly aware of just how difficult it is to pick up an agent, particularly when you don't have any formal training in the arts. But I had quite a big agent say that they were prepared to take me on, but there's a website over in the UK called Spotlight, and if you're not on Spotlight, it's very difficult to look for work. That's basically where all the big casting directors cast from. And to be on Spotlight, you need to be represented by an agent. So I had the first step down, but to get on Spotlight, I required at least 12 months worth of formal training, which I didn't have. So it began to become quite apparent that if I did want to take this very seriously, then I needed to train. And of course, the cost of doing a degree abroad was extortionate in comparison to training over here, where I'm eligible for government subsidy, the old HEX, or now I think it's called fee help. So it actually came at a really good time. So I came back to Australia and started auditioning for drama school. And now for the next 3 years, I will be attending drama school in Sydney, which is
at one of the
exciting.
top fucking schools, by the way.
At one of the top schools. I am very fortunate to be about to attend the Actors Centre Australia, which is where Hugh Jackman went. That's where he started his acting career. So hopefully I'm the next Hugh Jackman. Or Jake
Oh, man. That is pretty fucking impressive. Well, if you ever meet him, tell him to come on the pod. That'll be fucking interesting.
Yeah, cool. Mate, me, Hugh, I'll see if I can get him on it.
Oh, fuck.
I mean, in my head, it's going to go like drama school, Best Mates with You, Power Rangers movie, Oscars.
That actually, I didn't mind that movie, actually. Now, if I'm being honest, I thought it was pretty good.
Power Rangers.
Yeah, I expected it to be a lot shitter than it was, so I'll give him that.
Really? I haven't seen it. I know I'm sort of, looking at the career of Dacre Montgomery, who's just absolutely killing it, and someone that I am very impressed by, and I'm a big fan of his work. But he's had a dream run. I mean, obviously he's incredibly talented, but to pick that up pretty much straight out of drama school, he went to Whopper, and then pretty much straight after. I think perhaps even before graduation. I could be getting it wrong here, Dacre. If I am, forgive me, because I can imagine this podcast.
All the main people, mate. All the mains.
Of course he is. Yeah. He was then flown over to LA and basically picked up the Power Rangers movie straight off the bat, which was God knows how much money for him, and basically just propelled him. And I think the next thing he did was Stranger Things, which is just superb. If you haven't seen it, fucking do something.
I don't know about third season. First two were okay though.
Oh, you didn't like the third season? I'm very excited for season.
Wherever the main characters weren't in it, that season was shit. Whatever that one was. I think that was the second season. Well, they go to New York and shit, and it's it has nothing to do with the main one. Yeah, I didn't like that. But the one when it goes back all the kids again, that's one, and then whatever one it is where they go back to see the main cast again. That was sick. So when you're finishing, I don't know if you've planned this far ahead, but I'll ask anyway. Are you trying to go to Australian movies, or are you going to aim for Hollywood straight after? Or do you know what you're doing?
I don't know. I think, I think I've learnt the hard way not to try and make too many plans. I think it's good to have, specific goals in mind, but over the last few years, I've realised things change. You just, there is a certain extent of going with the flow and not cutting off possibilities. But with that said, all I really want to do is make quality content, and whatever that looks like. My end goal is to, create a portfolio that I can be proud of. I don't want to be someone who does things for the sake of money. You know what I mean? I consider myself very lucky to have learned at a young age that money doesn't bring me happiness. and I've been, the most successful that I've ever been, and was, incredibly unhappy. Whereas when I've had the least amount of money, but I've been doing the things that I enjoy the most, felt the most fulfilled. So that for me is is evidence enough to myself that I'm now doing the right thing. I want to create my own movies and my own stuff, much the same way that Auntie Donna created their own content. I'm not suggesting that I'm a similar style, because I think I'm sort of quite different, but
they are very unique as well. They are very unique.
They're very they're almost Python-esque in the way that they conduct.
That's a very good way to put it. Yeah, I haven't
very
thought about that. That's actually true.
Very funny, very off the wall sketch comedy, and I think it seems to me that there's probably a lot of improvisation, and I think I got a lot of respect for them. I think that they're incredibly find all of their stuff funny, but I think that they obviously go through a lot. They work through a lot of shit to get the funny stuff out, and I respect that. I like that. Having made a lot of content on my own, with small movies that I've done with a close friend of mine, and little skits for our old company. It's that's what it takes. But that for me is really enjoyable. I like. Will I end up directing one day? Yeah, I hope so. That would be the goal. And I don't want to limit myself in terms of the stuff that I'm doing. I want to do stage. I want to do screen. I want to do stand-up comedy. And a lot of people have been asking me now that I'm going to drama school, am I giving up on the comedy? Absolutely not. Comedy will always be a big part of my life. And it's something that, you can't liken to anything else. There is nothing that compares to standing up on a stage and making a group of people laugh. You know what I mean? Like, what got me into comedy was how I feel leaving a good comedy show that I've been to, as in where I'm not the performer, but rather going to watch someone where, I've seen live, Kevin Hart, Russell Brand, some of the top performers, and to leave there and just go, wow, you're on a high for days after that. And if I could have that impact on other people, or you get to share that with people, the energy in a room when there's a comedian who's just, hitting them straight down the line, and people are just, connecting with that. It's not like anything, you ever feel. I can't explain. The highest I've ever been in my life are those moments. Are the moments where I've done a quality gig and the audience is connected and every joke's landed. It's pure ecstasy. It is pure ecstasy. You walk off the stage feeling like you can fucking walk on water. And that, film doesn't, stage and screen doesn't give me that. It gives me something different, absolutely. It's a different feedback. It's a different experience, and it's something that I really enjoy. I love the ability to explore characters, and because ultimately in exploring characters, you're actually exploring, parts of your own personality, oftentimes parts that you really don't like, particularly if that character, demonstrates those traits. So, it's finding yourself in every character that you play, and that's quite an interesting journey. And just to tell a story ultimately, and to do to do a character or a piece of work justice is what's really interesting and entertaining for me, because you get to put on a mask and sort of play that part. Whereas comedy is raw. Comedy is yourself. Comedy is getting up there and exposing yourself to the world and going, what do you think? This is who I am.
Just seeing what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck. It's pretty fucking impressive, man. I've thought about doing it, but I just, every time I go to do it, I'm just like, I can't think of anything to tell. I can't think of a joke to tell. So I would love to do it eventually.
Yeah.
Look, I'll find something funny enough.
You know what it is? Because I was the same. You could do a lot worse than going to a stand-up comedy school, because that's where people like that, I think, should start. Because I was like that. I had a couple of good stories that I told at parties, and would always get asked to tell those stories again. But what you realize is when you go out and you tell those stories raw on stage, they're very rarely funny. They are very rarely funny. And because you find out that you need to structure it in a way that there's more punchlines than what would ordinarily, occur in your telling of the story, and this, that, and the other. And more often than not, people are just laughing because they like you, or it's out of politeness. So, but I reckon go to a comedy school and allow yourself to workshop it in a safe environment, because it's that's the best way to do it. And it really is. Once you start doing it, it's a bit like the whole reticular activating system. Once you start looking for it, once you start, figuring out what a joke looks like, jokes will come up all the time. Like when I'm sort of going out and performing every night, every scenario that I'm in, I can find the funny in it. You know what I mean? Like even small interactions, because that's just the way that your brain's thinking. You're tuned into those things. So something will pop up, you go, oh, that's funny. That's really funny. Let's write that down.
I do that all the time. I do it to the point where it pisses people off that I do it so much.
Yeah.
So I definitely have it in me. Like I definitely know that it's something I want to do, and I fucking enjoy, it makes me so fucking happy making people laugh. Like just make them laugh. But every time I think about going to do, what was that? Sorry.
It's the most liberating thing. I think, putting yourself out there and trying to make people laugh is probably one of the most vulnerable things you can do, because ultimately you're showing a really sensitive part of yourself. I think because it's not like anything else where you can kind of hide behind a facade. You are exposing to the world what you think is funny. You know what I mean? And that's, if people don't think that's funny, a big part of you is going, they're going to judge me. Yeah. Because that, what you think is funny, I mean, I think in our society, gives an indication to your social status, or, or who you are, who you are, and how intelligent you are. If you think something that, can come across as, can be perceived as quite stupid, is funny, and people don't laugh at that, they go, you're immature, you're an idiot, and look, perhaps, a lot of people might not think that. That's how I think. I think, if I say something that is, for a long time I steered clear of, dirty or smutty jokes, because if they didn't go well, I'd be I was thinking to myself, people would think that that's, uncouth and, not, very distasteful, and he's not very sophisticated and all that kind of thing.
Yeah. Like toilet jokes aren't fucking funny. It's like, no, toilet jokes are fucking funny, To deny that, you're not human.
If you can tell them right, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, I a lot of people talk about, getting offended by jokes, and there's things that you can't joke about. And as someone... look, don't get me wrong. There are jokes that aren't funny. There's a lot of shit out there that is a touchy subject. But, as Ricky Gervais says, you can joke about anything, right? It depends on the joke, right? You're not hurting anyone.
Context. Now, there's context.
Exactly, context, and it depends on what you're, it depends on what you're saying and how you're saying it, and
I'm just putting this out there. Have you seen? Yeah. Oh man, this is so funny. Bobby Lee has a oh fuck man, I'm trying not to laugh fucking thinking about it. Bobby Lee has a joke. Fuck, I can't not laugh at it. Bobby Lee has a joke on being raped, and fuck, the person who did it too had something going on. They had some sort of mental issues. He calls them retarded, but he was molested by a person with Down syndrome, and holy fuck, man, it is one of the funniest stories you will ever hear. Oh man, really? I don't know. Bobby Lee must have worked on this joke for fucking years, man, years. Yeah, because it is. Yeah. It's something that you don't laugh at. You don't laugh at rape. You don't. Yeah. You never laugh at it, and yet Bobby Lee tells it, and man, you're on the ground. You are on the ground with this fucking story. It is so funny. Yeah. So I mean, it all comes down to context. All of it. Yeah. It's just context. Absolutely. And you can tell meaning behind it as well. Just to add that in there.
Yeah. Well, that's. I haven't heard that joke, but yeah. I mean, look,
you'll piss yourself.
Yeah. I can't remember who said it, but I remember learning that the more risque or off the punchline is, off the joke is, or the subject matter is, the worse it is, or more taboo, I should say, then the stronger the punchline has to be, and it has to be fucking quality. You can't just be, talking about sensitive topics and bombing, because you are going to lose a lot of friends. And there are jokes out there that I think, okay, that's really offensive, or that's a horrible thing to say. Does that mean people don't have the right to say it? No. I think everyone has a right. Everyone has a right, as a lot of comedians say, and I'm not reinventing the wheel here. Everyone has a right to say what they feel, and everyone has a right to be offended. But I don't think you have the right to tell people that they can't say a certain thing, just as you don't have the right to tell people that they can't feel a certain way. You know what I mean? We're all entitled to these things. Does that mean that you're going to be, popular and you're going to maintain heaps of friends? Probably not. But that's the fucking reality, isn't it?
That's life, yeah. Theo, I know you love Theo so much, but he talks a bit, or at least I've heard him talk a bit about it, where he'll have one joke and he'll go to like 10 different states, and in 2 of the states it'll kill. Everyone will be fucking just tears coming out their eyes, and then he'll go to the other 8 states and it'll just get coughs, just silence.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, how can you tell the same joke and have different people act differently? It's like you got to just learn to ignore those people, I guess.
Audience, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And you never know what you're going to get, and even the big comedians get this. I mean, you look at some of the specials where, even Bill Burr, I think in one of his more recent specials, touches on a subject, and then nobody says anything, and he says, "What? You people don't fucking do this here?" Because he was in London, and it happens to everyone. You never know what you're going to get, and I've had experience, where jokes will work, 5 times on the trot, and then I'll go and tell it somewhere else, and everyone just sort of looks at me and goes, "This come for real?"
Just crickets, mate. Just crickets.
Sometimes I can't pick it.
Oh fuck. Well, we need to have you back on, mate. Need to have this chat again.
I'd love to. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah,
it's been legendary. I hope I haven't spoken out of turn. I hope I haven't said anything too offensive. I hope.
No.
I hope that will like to bite me.
Yeah.
Jake, didn't you say 10 years ago on a podcast this, and now you're saying this?
Now you hate retarded people. You told everyone you hated retarded people.
Yeah, exactly.
I know you said that. You said you take heroin every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Fuck. Nah, mate. Like, if it's context, bro. It's context. Like, if anyone's coming back to this podcast, fuck them. If they're digging up shit from this, fuck those people. Like, come watch the whole thing, then make your fucking mind up.
Yeah, exactly.
It all comes down to that at the end of the fucking day, man. Like, and the more you do stuff too, the more people get to build up their understanding of who you are. So that when attacks come, from what I've seen, attacks come just as soon as you reach a certain level. Attacks come out everywhere. So you just got to keep going and just kind of remember that you've got this fan base out there that knows who you are.
Yeah.
They've seen, X amount of hours of you. They know that when someone comes out and says, "Oh, he did this," it's like, fuck off. Like, I don't care. I know that's not true. I know he wouldn't say that because people know.
I think the benefit now of, social media, because I mean, going into this industry is kind of scary because, I am prone to saying things in the moment for a laugh, you know what I mean? And quite often, they don't reflect my personal feelings or beliefs, but I say it for a laugh. I say it because I enjoy making people laugh, and I enjoy, I enjoy the shock factor and, all these kind of things. So, what I say doesn't necessarily reflect what I actually feel. And in this day and age when these things do get taken out of context and posted everywhere saying, this guy's a bigot, this guy's this, that, and the other, and it is hard. But I also think that we're very privileged now in that with access to social media, particularly if you've got a large following, you're very quickly able to go on social media and rectify things, or at least have the opportunity to speak out and justify what you've said, or set things straight. Because I think you're right. If people do start to get to know who you are, I look at myself. I mean, all of my friends know that I'm a very sensitive, very sort of caring, very emotional, person. But if I get up on stage and I start, spitting some heinous shit, it's only for a laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I would never want to make anyone feel anything but joy coming to a gig. But the reality is, some people are going to be offended by certain things because I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I've probably said things tonight that'll probably upset people, but I would hope.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
No, I don't. But I would hope that
Michelle or whatever his name is ruined his life.
Yeah, exactly. I would hope that how I sort of conduct myself and how I actually treat other human beings outside of the arts would sort of give people an indication as to the fact that I'm actually just a super mega nice guy.
I think here in Australia as well, we have the benefit of people calling out when we're acting like shitheads. Like people, here, I find more than other countries will be like, "You're a fucking wanker. Don't say shit like that." Not to those words, but there's definitely a more call out culture here, where people aren't afraid of saying, "You may not want to say that shit." People call you on your shit a lot more here than all the other countries I've been to.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I think you look at the US, they've got a real. There's a huge sort of outrage culture over there. You can't say anything without being sort of shot down. I think
I wouldn't say you get shot down. I say you get called more and like not told
in the
not
moment
to say it. Yeah, just like fuck off, mate. Like fuck off. That kind of comment. Whereas in America, it is more like you're silenced, never fucking talk again kind of attitude.
Sure.
Where it's here, like you can keep talking, but you're a fucking idiot for saying that.
Okay. Okay.
At least my experience. From
no, sure. I'm just trying to think. In my experience, it's I think it's I don't know, and this is probably because I am Australian, so for me it just seems more reasonable. Obviously, with cultural differences, it is a different thing, but I do think that there's a certain level of understanding with I suppose the way Australians relate to Australian celebrities and the way that they behave, and I think there's perhaps a little bit more leniency, a little bit less. How could you do that? And a little bit more. Oh, well, they're only human, so I get that. You know what I mean? Whereas I tend, and look, I'm speaking out my ass here. This is basically just what I'm observing. I feel like there's a real sense of entitlement in a lot of other countries where they really sort of, they feel the right or the responsibility to call people out on things, because their feelings are hurt. Which good for you. Opinions are like ours.
Yeah.
Got one,
Oh, mate, you've been listening to Tom McDonald, bro.
Well, I don't know who Tom McDonald is, but he sounds like a good bloke.
He's a rapper, mate, but he's got a whole song about that one. Everyone's got an I can't remember what it's called, but it's arseholes. The whole the whole song is about arseholes. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Alrighty, man. We'll end it there, I reckon. Thanks for coming on. We'll see.
Mate,
maybe in another 6 months or something, we'll have you back on. See where you're at.
That sounds like a deal to me, mate.
Yeah.
Hey, good luck with it, and congrats on everything that's happening with the channel. It sounds like it's really going places. So I'll definitely.
I only started. I think it was September last year, and I've already got 85 subs from nothing. Like I've been sharing it with about 5 of my close friends. And then everything else from there is just growth on its own, just from people searching for the videos that I'm putting up. Like, I'm not sharing it on fucking Twitter or anything like that, or Facebook, nothing. It's just naturally fucking growing on its own. I don't know how. Can I share
it on my Facebook and Instagram?
Yeah, bro. If you want it, chuck it wherever you want. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, cool. Good stuff.
But yeah, it's just natural growth. I don't know. I mean, I honestly thought I'd hit 35 and then just kind of stay around that mark, like 30 people. But, I mean, when I hit that, I was like, holy fuck, I actually thought about it. I'm like, 30 people, that's a lot of fucking people. listening.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy fuck, that's a lot. And now I'm at 85. I'm like, how the fuck are 85 people listening to me talk shit? Like, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It's the greatest fucking feeling
I know.
ever. So, yeah,
That
definitely
is-
not going to stop, and hopefully it keeps growing as well. But we'll
Fuck
see.
yeah.
We'll see what happens. All right, man. We'll end it there.
Good stuff.
Catch us all in the next one. Boy!
Hey, boy.